Hi guys! So I wanted to make a video of my twisted breadsticks recipe with step-by-step instructions so that you guys can make them for yourselves because we absolutely love them. Okay, so our first step is going to be activating our yeast. So I'm going to put 1.5 cups of warm water. Now, so then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Whenever you are activating yeast, it's a good idea to add sugar. It gives it something to feed on. So then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of my yeast, and I'm just going to mix this around and get it all incorporated in there. Don't want any stuck on my side, sorry. Focus on my hand. I'm going to make sure that sugar on the bottom is all mixed in there. So now we've got this all mixed in. Sorry, there's a little clump there. We are going to let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, ignore the background noise. Brigham is cooking and Sammy's helping. So I am actually going to call my yeast good here. Normally you would want it to puff up, but if you are in a rush and you're trying to get your yeast done, you can see there's no difference between water and yeast anymore. There's lots of bubbles. It's kind of like a foamy look to it. So this is good. All of my yeast is activating. I know that it works. I can move on to my next steps. This recipe only calls for 3.5 cups of flour, so I'm going to add that right now. And when I do my flour, I have it in my bucket and I scoop it up and then I kind of shake it even. You do not want it packed in. You will then, if you have your flour packed, you will have a stiff, dense bread, which is not what we want. So let's see, that's 2, 3, and roughly a half. Hey, will you come do my 1 teaspoon salt? I am trying to do this one-handed. It's not happening. Just 1 teaspoon of salt. Look at those magic hands. Okay, and then I'm going to move it over my mixer and start mixing. Okay, here we go. In the mixer, I'm going to start it on low so that you don't spray flour all over your house. Sorry, it's trying to focus on that. We're about to a point where I can kick it up. So you can see how it's starting to come off the sides and it's starting to clump really well and turn into a dough. The joy of a mixer that does all the work for you. I'm going to let it go another minute. Because the more you leave it in the mixer, the less you have to do by hand. Okay. Okay. So you can see it is a little lumpy but fairly smooth, and when I touch it, it's not sticking to my finger too much, just a little bit. So it's sticky but not, you know, it's in a dough form. So now I'm going to move it over to my rolling pin and board. Okay, so I've just put a little flour down and plopped my dough on top of it, so I'm just going to knead it now into that flour. So I push down, pull back, push down, pull back, and that is all it is. And literally, there we go. So I've got enough flour on it now that I'm not worried about it sticking to my surface. And I'm going to spread my flour out And what I'm kind of shaping my dough in a rectangle shape. That'll make it easier as I roll it out. And I'm just going to roll this into a large rectangle, kind of like if you were making cinnamon rolls. You would roll it into a large rectangle. And you see how my dough is moving while I do it? That way I know that I'm not sticking, and I'm going to run into issues later when I try to pull up my dough. So that is actually good. Every once in a while you can flip it. Okay, so we are just about there. It's not a perfect rectangle. I've got like a weird gap up there, but that is just about good. So I've got my oven preheating to 400 right now while I'm doing this, and I have melted some butter, about 1/4 cup of butter, and then I add about 1/2 teaspoon onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder or garlic salt, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper into my butter, and I'm just going to spread it all over my rectangle. Now, if you want to melt 1/2 cup of butter, because you will use it after we bake it, you'll put the butter mixture and our Parmesan that we're going to put in just a second. We're going to put that on top of it as well after it's baked. So you have a really flavorful breadstick.
Mommy.
Yeah, I don't need my water right now. Don't move the camera. Thank you. Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. So that is spread evenly there. And then I'm going to take just grated Parmesan. Mine's the cheap stuff. And I'm just going to spread it across there. Yummy, huh? Then I'm going to take the top half of my dough and I'm folding it in half. Right? And as I'm doing this, I'm kind of stretching it so that it covers up those gaps that we had. So you can see I've now got it in a half. And I've got my plastic knife and I'm going to cut 1-inch strips across the whole thing. You can use a regular knife, it just depends on your countertop. You don't want to cut up your countertop. All right. No, just mommy. You need to wash your hands if you want to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, go wash your hands. This next part that I'm going to get to, my kids love to help with. And if the breadsticks end up a little twisted funny, that's okay. It still tastes good. Okay, so I've got my 9x13 jelly roll cookie sheet here. And I've got it buttered. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my breadstick. I'm going to kind of stretch this one because it's short. And I'm going to twist it like that and lay it out on my cookie sheet. And just do that all the way down the line. So I'm stretching and twisting. Putting it down, stretching. And I'm twisting both hands opposite directions of each other. So my right hand is twisting clockwise and my left hand is twisting counterclockwise. It maximizes the curls and makes it go a little bit faster. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Sam. Sammy, you help me with the last one? Okay, so there's those. So you're going to take that end. Twist. 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 Good job. Okay, we're going to set it down. Okay, there you go. Such a good helper.
Yeah.
So they'll kind of touch each other a little bit. It's a good thing. I like them to touch each other because then you don't have the crispy edges all over.
I like the crispier edges.
So I'm going to stick it in an oven at 400 degrees. My oven cooks a little hot, so I say anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. Mine's usually about 17 minutes. And then we will check in again. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you a quick tip. When you are cleaning up flour, use a damp, or not, barely even damp paper towel.
Mostly dry.
Mostly dry. You don't want wet because it'll just stick like glue to your counter. But you also don't want to use like a wash rag because you will get glue in your wash rag and it's a nightmare to get it out.
Burns.
Yeah, and just keep wiping.
Burns.
You see how it just comes off?
Up.
Sammy, are you being so helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brigham is cooking us bolognese tonight. So, don't touch
Sammy,
Sammy.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch the phone. Yeah, so clean counter, like 5 seconds of cleanup. Okay, so here they are out of the oven. This is about where Brigham likes it. He likes it a little darker.
A little more crunchy on the outside, still super soft on the inside.
I like mine a little lighter. But now I'm just going to put my garlic butter mixture on top of each breadstick. So if you have any tips, this recipe is also great if you want, instead of garlic and Parmesan, you can do butter with cinnamon and sugar. You can do rosemary and thyme. You could do Italian seasoning. You could do, really anything that you like on yours. On your breadsticks, any type of seasoning to match your meal. Okay, so I got my butter on there. Now I'm going to take my Parmesan just like before and heavily sprinkle it on there. We really like Parmesan, so it's pretty heavy. But there you go. Delicious. They're really hot right now. I'm not going to pick it up. Delicious bread addition to your meal in like, what is it, like half an hour, if that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around half an hour. We like to do ours with Italian food normally, but if you're doing soups, it's really good with soups too. But I hope you guys love it and enjoy and are feeling more confident in making bread. Bye-bye.